All right, a little update from CNS Organics about our new, much larger aquaponics system. I know it's a mess, it's under construction, there's boards and things everywhere. Hopefully, I don't fall down on this video. Um, so, this is that grow bed. I did add in some additional supports, and I also added in all the cross members and everything else like I had mentioned in my last video. So if somebody really tried really hard to try to push it over, which this bed here is going to weigh, I think, about 2,000 pounds, so I doubt they'll be able to do anything. This is just a safety side. I did today do a little bit of leveling. As you can see, the blocks underneath, I may leave those like they are, or I may actually cut pieces instead of having several pieces down there. Cut pieces at the right length and screw them on so that there's no chance of anything moving. There is some water in here. It's, I don't know, let's see. It's about 1.25 inches long, 1.25 inches deep. It's just enough for me to get it all 100% level and also tighten up the liner. I don't know if you ever had a swimming pool and you had to put a new liner on. It is a chore. Getting all the wrinkles out and getting it all squared and straight and nice and smooth. Like you're gonna want it nice. If you're gonna do all this, there's no reason to just, do it halfway. You gotta go all the way and make sure it's nice and clean. And right now, like I said, I've got these little spring clips holding everything kind of in place so that I can work on the sides and work on the bottom and get all the. I mean, as you can see, you got little lines and stuff there and down here. All that's going to be straightened out. It's going to be nice and smooth. I know that if I filled it with water, the water pressure would just force those wrinkles up really close, and you probably wouldn't notice them. But the way I'm wanting to do it is I want it to be nice and smooth. I've got to do this exact same thing here in the middle, and I've learned a few things building this long bed. This is a 40-foot long bed, so I've learned a few things that's going to make this one go better. And then there's going to be also another 40-foot bed on the other side, which will be an ebb and flow. So going through the steps, making sure it's right, is very important. I believe that 100%. On the ground here, we've got a bunch of PVC pipe. That's a 3-inch PVC pipe. That'll actually be the drain for this this deep water culture. Let me see if I can get back here. I actually cut out little notches. In those notches, what will happen is I'll have 2 bulkhead fittings attached through the plastic. I'll have to be very careful how I tighten them up so that I don't take a chance of ripping the plastic. And it'll be supported on this 2x12. They'll come together with a T, and then from the T go down to an adapter over to 3-inch, and then from 3-inch, which is what this is, the bulkhead fittings are 2-inch. From there, it's going to travel the length, and then I hadn't quite 100% figured it out, but it's going to go over to the sump tank. I would like for it to just come across, but that in turn is a trip hazard. It'll be about a foot off the ground. But since that end is higher, I can come down go just subsurface, just barely underneath the ground, and then back up. I'm gonna see if I can point underneath the ground and then just up, over, and then back down. That's probably what I'll do. The only part I don't like about it is that you come up over this little section that's underneath the ground, which it'll be draining all the time. But that allows for any type of miscellaneous solids collecting that low-lying pipe. So I'm not really crazy about that. Maybe I'll put a clean out and you know, do a T and have it come up maybe over here with a little T, to where if I need to, I can put pressurized water to push out any type of buildup that may be in the system. That may be the best option. As I mentioned before, man, I got PVC stuff all over the place. So these are the bulkhead fittings. They're a left-handed thread. Okay, so let me unscrew this guy a little bit. In between there's a hard washer, and then there's a soft rubber washer. This part here goes inside the tank or inside of the grow bed or what have you. The O-ring, this rubber seal is on the inside, and then it has a hard seal and a nut. It's left-handed threads. I think it even tells you on it to tighten it this direction in order to tighten it up. These last two, this one and that one there, will be at the far end of this grow bed. I'm going probably way overboard. Those are 2-inch bulkhead fittings. Those are the threaded adapters to go to the PVC, and basically what it'll be is, let's see if I can grab these guys. Put that one there, and then put that one there, and then let's move this guy out of the way. That'll be a guy, oh, backwards, like so, and like so. So there will be some short pieces of 2-inch PVC and whatnot. These guys will screw in. There'll be a little short piece of PVC here. There'll be a short piece of PVC here. Same on this side. And they'll come down to the 3-inch, and then from the 3-inch, there'll be a short piece of PVC, and then the 90 for the return. All this 3-inch that's on the ground to return all the way back down to the sump tank. I'll walk through that probably a little bit whenever I get ready to do it. Right now I've still got a lot of work getting this liner the way I want it, so that it's all nice and smooth and flat and clean, and it's attached. And I will probably do like I did with the other system in our smaller greenhouse. I'll probably add like a 1x4 or some type of material across the top to make it look nice, and give you a place to work from and everything else. It's not gonna be held on by these clips by any means. It will be faceted down and everything. I did want to touch on, this is the sump tank. All of this plumbing is very, very temporary. I was wanting to test the system. I've got the pump down there. I've got the overfill to where in case something blocks up, it'll make sure that it flows back to the sump and that there's no issues. Sorry about the sun there. So what I did, okay, I have our bulkhead fitting at the bottom with a valve. This is a drain. If I need to drain the tank, if I need to service it or anything else. This one here, it's a little bit of an angle. I'm gonna get a rubber boot, and when I attach the 2-inch to it, that will come down to the ground, probably a little bit subsurface, the same as before. Over in this area will be our filters, and then from there it'll go to this grow bed. It'll tee off, do the middle grow bed and the far left grow bed. So I put the bulkhead fittings in. I did use Teflon tape on the threads. I made sure they were good and tight. When I first started filling this up, I'd only hand tightened everything as good as I could, and the hand tightening didn't do the trick. It was leaking. So I had to drain 6-7 inches of water and put some Teflon tape and actually tighten them up really, really good. This is a 1,000-gallon fish tank. Go ahead and tell you, it's a Duracast, high quality, heavy duty plastic, very thick. It's a very nice fish tank. There's gonna be some changes, but like I said, most of the plumbing is somewhat temporary. This is where the water is going to come from into the grow beds. So right now it's underneath the water, and on the end of that guy, it's actually got like a little grid. I think there may be 1/2-inch holes or something. I wanted it towards the bottom to kind of collect any solids, and then as this guy drains, it'll drain out of here and over to the filters. And the filters will be able to collect all of the fish solids, wasted fish food, and all that kind of stuff. So that was the idea there. I think it's going to work great. I may end up raising it just a little bit. It's not flat on the bottom. It's actually, I'm not sure if you can tell, but on one end it's touching, and on the other end it's probably about a 1/2 inch up. Now when it starts siphoning and it starts pulling the water out, I'll have to see how it does, and I may have to put in some little supports or something, just so that a little standoff, just so that it can't accidentally get stuck to the floor. Right now, most of this plumbing, like I said, is temporary. We have our pump down in our sump tank, and I wanted to test my safety feature. So the pump right now is pumping, if I had to do the math, I couldn't tell you exactly, but I'm guessing around 1,500 gallons per hour. It's a pretty decent pump. It's a submersible. I may end up changing it to a non-submersible, but right now this is what I've got. This is what I'm going to test and check everything out with to see if the flow rate's going to be good. It was not real expensive. Some of the other ones that I actually would much rather have were several $100s more. This is one that has enough gallons per hour for what I'm wanting to do, but we have to kind of play it by ear and see how it works. And if it doesn't work here, I could use it on another system. It's not like I wasted my money, and at the same time I didn't spend $400 or $500 on a pump, and it'd be way more than what I needed. So this gave me a good benchmark to find out if everything's going to work right. So this is 1-inch PEX. You had to buy adapters in order to fit it over to the pump, and the 1-inch PEX come up, and it's a 90, which in turn later it won't actually like come over, be up here real close to it. Pretty seamless. As you can see, I got clamps and stuff, just kind of holding things in place for right now. So it is cycling, it's running. What I wanted to test on the safety side, this is the main discharge. This will be all the water that's going to our grow beds. Now from the pump, I may tee off and have additional water going to the grow beds, but this is the idea, is that this is the main supply to, which are going to be filters, and then to all the different grow beds. So what I wanted to test was if there was a blockage, if the fittings, if the fish tanks, if the filter tanks, if something had a block in it, some type of blockage. And my pump is running, okay, because it's gonna be running all the time. And the pump was running and there was a blockage, whether it was in that ball valve over there or in the piping, anywhere at all, would I have sufficient amount of safety overflow? So trying to block some of the sun. This guy here's just underneath the water. That's where the normal water would be, was actually lower than what it is now. But if there was a blockage for whatever reason, or if I had to shut that valve back there in order to service something or fix something, my overflow over on this side, which, like I said, this is all temporary, this little overflow, emergency overflow, which I recommend for everybody, is going to be, this is 2-inch, is going to be able to handle the volume of water that the pump is putting out. So it comes down, as you can see, and it's going back in. The water level is staying about the same. Everything's good. It's been running for probably 45 minutes. And so I do know that with this pump size and how many gallons per hour it's pumping right now, that this safety overflow prevention is going to be great. It's going to work awesome. So that's what I'm testing right now. I'm going to let it run for a little bit, maybe another 45 minutes or so, and then shut it off, because the system doesn't need to run right now, not until I can get a grow bed ready to go 100% and actually cycle it through the whole system. And then maybe I can tee off to the next one and the next one and everything else. So I just wanted to really test to make sure that if I didn't have enough overflow prevention for whatever reason, that there was any kind of blockage or any kind of problems, I don't want that pump to cavitate. I don't want it to run without water. I didn't want it to pump so much water into this fish tank that this fish tank poured over the side, and now the pump's sitting down there and is sucking air and it's cavitating and it's burning that pump up. That's what I'm testing right here. So anyways, this is the majority of what was done today. Yesterday I built the deck for the fish tank, and I've been checking it and working on stuff and leveling the grow bed, and probably tomorrow, the next day, I'll work on the drainage from this bed. I'll be getting the liner right over the next couple of days, getting it trimmed up, putting on probably like a 1x4 or some type of trim work. I may even do just a regular trim, like a 1x2 or something, I'm not sure, and get it going, and so that I can have the pump going and actually check the flow rate to the bed and the return line to make sure that I have enough volume of pipe, so that there is no issue that this bed maybe it's getting too much water and it's wanting to come over the sides because our drain pipe isn't big enough, or that it's draining too fast and I need to reduce the size, or I need to put in a couple of valves to be able to adjust it. Those are the kind of things, I'm sure that there's math, there's engineers that could get on a computer and figure all that out. I do it kind of by hand. I put a little bit of water in this guy. Like I said, it's about 1.5 inches deep or so, 1.25 inches. And I get the liner all straight. I get it tight to the sides. I do it that way. Some people use blocks or what have you. They use formulas to equate how much volume of water you're wanting to move per minute or per hour, on what size intake and discharge. It's just as easy to just do it. just start putting water in it, start filling it up. If you've got to stop and put in a valve, that's not a big deal. If you've got to cut it back a little bit or whatever, I mean, those are easy changes to make. As far as leveling it, I put about, I don't know, I guess about 1 inch of water in it. I did use a line level, which didn't go real well for me. I had quite a bit of leveling to do, but putting that 1/4 inch of water, I could go and put my finger in the water and tell how deep it was in places, and by then I knew where I needed to add additional shims. Because if it was deeper in one spot, I'd add a shim there, and if it was deeper somewhere else or at one end or anything else. It made it pretty easy, other than having to continuously lift it up and add shims, which I use like a little floor jack, so that made it easy. But I would recommend testing your protection. This is in case anything that plugs up down the line, and then if you look at the plumbing, like I said, it's very temporary, but there's gonna be a whole lot more plumbing going on. So yes, this guy will probably come, or I'm sorry, this little overflow drain will probably end up coming down and over and then directly down into there. It's not gonna be at an angle like it is. It's gonna be nice and streamlined. And then, like I had said, probably this vertical PEX, it'll come up very over, nice and clean. It may even tee off right here and then branch out to each one of the grow beds directly from the sump to the grow beds with valves. This guy here, this is only for if I got to drain the tank or if I need to do some very major work, but it's there in case I need it. Our main supply line, it's going to come down, come across. It's going to be going through 3 different filters, and it's going to be supplying each one of those tanks. So of course there's going to be, you know, from here there will be a T, and then from over here there'll be another T. There's going to end up being a whole lot of plumbing parts and pieces, and I'm going much larger than I may have to. But at the same time, if there happened to ever be some type of blockage, or if I needed to shut off this grow bed and this grow bed and that grow bed to do maintenance, okay, now I can shut this guy off. I can still allow fresh water coming up into the fish tank. The fish water will still be circulated, and the emergency overflow on this far side will allow it to drain back to the sump. So I can continue this circuit over and over and over in case I need to shut down everything. Or if, let's say that this is getting about 1/3 of the flow and 1/3 of the flow and 1/3 of the flow, and this bed over here I had to work on, I had to fix. So I turn that valve and I kill it. So now the amount of water coming out of the fish tank through these filters to the 2 grow beds is going to be considerably less. And I don't know if this guy's gonna, you know, if it's gonna fill up just a little bit and just barely trickle over, or if I had to do 2 of them and only leave 1, or it's just a safety precaution. I do recommend it. And right now, like I said, we've been testing it for a while, making sure that it can stand up to the amount of water being pumped in and discharged down. I was always told that you have a 1-inch line coming in, double that for going out. So it's a 1-inch line going in, that's a 2-inch bulkhead, this is 2-inch bulkhead. So we should be good, but it makes it to where I can come through and valve everything off and the system can still run. I can select beds if I needed to turn off a certain bed at one time, so that I needed to clean it, to service it, to change something. If I had a tear, if I started a leak and I needed to fix it, I'm gonna have valves where I can turn those off. And so there's gonna be a lot of plumbing, but this is kind of an update here at CNS Organics. Hope you enjoyed. Hopefully I can give you a new update in the next few days. Yeah, that board won't be there. There'll actually be a deck very similar to this deck over the top of that, to where somebody couldn't, if they wanted to, walk by and accidentally fall in. It'll be all covered up. Most of the plumbing I'm going to try to hide underneath the deck. The plumbing, the pump, the electrical inside that deck will actually be a GFCI electrical plug for that. It won't be run by an extension cord as it is now. It'll be all tidied up and look nice and clean and neat. So anyways, leave me questions, comments, concerns, ideas. Any comments is greatly appreciated. And here from Texas, we appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. And if you need help building the system, or if you have questions, let me know. This is Steve at CNS Organics. Y'all have a good one.